Hi, I'm Andreas Apitz. In this jazz piano video, I will harmonize another melody line over 251 in minor with drop 2 voicings. In addition, I will demonstrate how to embellish these voicings with ghost notes in the left hand. In my last video on drop 2 voicings, I showed how to voice a melody on a minor 251 progression. Its shape is going downwards on the 2 chord, upwards on the 5 chord, and downwards on the 1 chord again. This time I will pick another melody line which has the opposite shape. Upwards on the 2 chord, downwards on the 5 chord, and upwards on the 1 chord again. As a matter of fact, I introduced this line in video number 7 of my one-hand voicings series. I only used a different note at the beginning of the line then to not get in the way of the left-hand voicing. Now let's have a closer look at the melody line in the key of C minor. On the 2 chord D minor 7 flat 5, it's actually an upward arpeggio of this chord from root to 7th. So I can easily harmonize each melody note with that same basic chord. Under the root D, I put the 7th C, the flat 5th A flat, and the minor 3rd F as close position. Then drop the second voice, which is C, by an octave. The next note, the minor 3rd F, is harmonized by root D, minor 7th C, flat 5th A flat for close position. Then drop 2. The third melody note, the flat 5th A flat, gets minor 3rd F, root D, and minor 7th C underneath. Close position. Drop 2. The last melody note on this chord, the minor 7th C, has flat 5th A flat, minor 3rd F, and root D underneath. Close position. Drop 2. Here's the complete line on D minor 7 flat 5. These are the very same voicings I used for the other melody line, but this time I won't make the adjustment of the voicing under the root that I made then. The reason is that the voicing here is not in the middle of the line, but at its beginning. And I want to have a very clear minor 7 flat 5 sound at this exposed spot. The 5 chord is G7 altered. As I mentioned in the previous video, the basic voicing that I used for G7 altered is in fact similar to an A flat minor 6 chord. In relation to G, as the root of the altered dominant chord, the notes are A flat as the flat 9th, C flat as the enharmonic spelling of the major 3rd B, E flat as the flat 13th, and F as the minor 7th. We can see that the melody line mainly consists of these intervals I just mentioned, with one exception to which I'll get in a moment. For voicing the 3rd B, I will put the flat 9th A flat, the minor 7th F, and the flat 13th E flat underneath for close position. then drop 2. To harmonize the flat 9th A flat, I'll add minus 7th F, flat 13th E flat, and 3rd B. Close position. Drop 2. The harmonization of the next melody note, the root G, is derived from that of the minus 7th, which happens to be the following melody note, so I will skip the root for a moment. Under the minus 7th, I'll put the flat 13th E flat, the 3rd B, and the flat 9th A flat for close position. Drop 2. Now I'll get back to the previous melody note, the root G. In terms of voicing, I view the root as a suspension or tension note in relation to the 7th. Consequently, I use the exact same notes for its harmonization. Now here's the entire line on the 5 chord. While the upper voice moves smoothly, the flow of the lower voice is not quite as smooth due to the repeated note at the end. My solution is to adjust the last voicing by replacing the flat 13th at the bottom by the sharp 11th. In addition, I would adjust the first voicing on the 5 chord also, as its lower voice repeats the A flat of the last voicing of the 2 chord. It's the identical situation that occurred at that spot in the previous melody. I will again replace the flat 9th A flat at the bottom by the root G, like I did then, which results in a smoother parallel motion of the outer voices. Now the line on the 5 chord is the line on the 1 chord C minor consists of an arpeggiated C minor triad. Again, with a melodic enclosure of the root. The voicings are exactly the same as used in the previous melody, the harmonizations being based on the C minor 6 chord. Minor 3rd E flat, close position. Drop 2. Fifth G, close position. Drop 2. The major 7th B, replacing the 6th A in the voicing. Close position. Drop 2. Ninth D, replacing the root C in the voicing. Close position. Drop 2. And also the major 7th replacing the 6th. Root C, close position. Drop 2. and the fifth G again. Here's the line on the one chord. Now let's hear the complete line over the progression. While maintaining the basic movement in quarter notes, I will again apply some syncopations to make it more lively. It's the same rhythm I introduced with the previous melody. Now I'd like to make some fingering suggestions. Of course, fingerings largely depend on the size and shape of the player's hands, as well as on the musical situation, especially on the rhythm of the phrase. So these are only my personal suggestions. If you find fingerings that suit you better, go for it. As with the previous melody, I'm going to take advantage of what I call shared hand positions for the right hand, which has a lot of notes to play and therefore changes its position very often. Right at the beginning, there's such a spot. I use the fingering 4-2-1 for the first voicing and 5-3-2 for the second one. In this way, I can place my hand open to an octave span so that I could easily play both voicings simultaneously. I play the next voicing with 4-2-1, could be 5-2-1 as well. Then, at the transition to the 5 chord, the next shared position occurs. I use 5-2-1 to 4-2-1. Then 4-2-1. And the following two voicings share the same inner voices. So it's a shared position with 5-2-1 and 4-2-1. The next three voicings are 4-2-1, 5-2-1, 5-2-1. Then another shared position with identical inner voices, 5-2-1 and 4-2-1. The last voicing has 5-2-1 again. I will keep these fingerings in every key. This also applies for my left hand fingerings of this line, regardless of black or white keys. 5, 4, 2, 1 on the 2 chord. Then 2, 1, 3, 4 on the 5 chord. And 5, 3, 2, 1, 2, 4 on the 1 chord. Since rhythmically the melody in this case basically moves in quarter notes, the relative ease of execution for the left hand compared to the right hand's task offers the opportunity to put in ghost notes on any offbeat that isn't occupied by a syncopated melody note. Now the rhythm looks quite different, but the main notes that go together with melody and voicings remain in the same places, with the same fingerings also. The ghost notes are marked by parentheses and their fingerings have been filled in. Here it is again. These embellishments add momentum to the line, while their actual pitches are secondary. I prefer using notes of the current chord that I already have under my fingers. Make sure to play them as short as possible to get a muted, mainly percussive sound of sorts. Here's the embellished line together with the right hand. Now I'm going to play the line through the descending circle of fifths. I will play all of the ghost notes, which I wouldn't do as consistently in real life, but since it's an exercise, I will stay with it. I'd like to add that the use of ghost notes also depends on the tempo. While at slow or medium tempos they create momentum, using them as much at fast tempos rather tends to hinder the flow and make the texture ponderous. In the intro of this video, where I play the line twice as fast, I avoided them completely for that reason. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate your likes, comments and subscriptions to my channel. Bye, see you next time.